Hi, I'm Richard, co-owner of Everybody E-Bikes. We're excited to launch the third generation of our semi-recumbent Trident, the Gen 3. Everybody E-Bikes owns the mould for this trike, and the first version was launched mid-2022. And since then, we've supplied hundreds of customers with the Trident in various formats. Now that the trike has been in the market for 3.5 years, we know what our customers like about the trike and what they don't and what they want changed. And the Gen 3 Trident is the result of their customer feedback and our observations, having done trials with lots of older people and people with limited mobility. One message we got loud and clear from customers was a preference for the fat tyres on the trike. The previous model came with standard width 2.125-inch tyres, but the vast majority of our riders wanted the fat tyre, even though it was significantly more expensive. With the Gen 3 model, we've been able to design it so that it comes with fat tyres fitted as standard and at a significantly reduced cost. The previous model came with a 16-inch tyre on the front, which some people felt was too small. The Gen 3 has a 16 by 4-inch fat tyre, which is the same diameter as a standard width 20-inch wheel. Tyres have a larger footprint, with more rubber on the road than a standard width tyre. Some customers comment that they feel more stable on the fat tyres than those with a standard tyre, and the fat tyre provides more grip on gravel, sand and rougher terrain. We offer the Trident with both the knobby and road tyres, depending on the rider preference and the type of riding that you'll be doing. The Trident comes with a choice of PAS, also known as cadence, or torque motor control. Because we do so many trials with older people and people with limited mobility, we know that the way that the power is delivered to the trike is very important to the rider and makes a big difference to the riding experience. All of our trikes now come with torque and PAS options so that people can choose what best suits their needs and how it feels for them. Check out our video on PAS versus torque control on our YouTube channel for more details on the difference between torque and PAS. As many of you will be aware, we specialise in adapting the bike to fit the rider, not trying to force the rider to fit onto the bike. The Trident Gen 3 has been designed to allow us to make a lot of adjustments on the bike, most importantly the 3 touch points, the handlebars, the pedals and the seat. So let's talk about the seat first. The seat can be adjusted to accommodate a wide range of rider heights from about 1.4 metres right up to 6'3". Due to the design of the main frame, as the seat is moved further back along for a taller rider, the seat height off the ground does not rise very much. The seat only goes up by about 40 millimetres over the full adjustment range. The seat is the same height as a dining chair, between 570 and 610 millimetres, which makes it very easy to get on and off the bike. We've stayed with the mesh seat and the backrest because we know that this is one of the features that people love. Once they sit on the bike, we find it very hard to get them off, and the full mesh cover is breathable and does not heat up as much as a vinyl seat. Now for the pedals and cranks. Being comfortable on the bike is very important, and it's no fun cycling if it's hard work on your knees or your hips when you're pedaling. Having done so much work with people with mobility issues, we've developed a range of adaptations to accommodate for all sorts of issues. We've developed our own pedal that helps to hold your feet on the pedal, and it's easy to get your foot in and out of the heel cup. Your foot is held securely, so you don't have to worry about your foot slipping off. We have other pedal options as well, depending on what's required. Crank length is another adaptation that we've spent a lot of time working on. Some people may have restricted range of motion on one side due to knee or hip operations, so we can modify the setup to make your riding experience pain-free, limiting the amount of rotation for your joints. As you can see with this crank shortener, we can move the crank length longer and shorter so that your feet are going in smaller or larger circles, reducing the range of motion for your knees and hips. The last touch point is handlebars. With the previous model of our Trident, we were always looking for more handlebar adjustment, so we have changed the stem and the handlebar clamping system on the Gen 3. This allows adjustment in multiple directions, which is particularly useful for shorter or taller riders, as we can move the handlebars inwards or outwards, so that in any position over the entire height range, we can achieve a comfortable arm position. The handlebars can be laid down to reduce the height of the trike when loading into a car, and they can be moved forward to provide more space when transferring on and off the bike. Of course, we can reposition the brakes and the gear shifters to allow for one-sided weaknesses or other hand dexterity issues, just like we do now. Let's talk about servicing. We all know that the majority of bike shops do not like servicing electric bikes, particularly the ones that they've not sold. And they're even less keen to service trikes, as they take up a lot of space in the workshop and the rear axle setup is not like a standard bike. For this reason, we've made a couple of changes to make it easier to work on the trike and tried to keep the equipment on the trike as bike industry standard as possible to minimise the reasons for them to not want to work on the trike. The Trident comes with standard hydraulic disc brakes, which are great as they require minimal maintenance and you get a lot of braking force for hand strength. The problem with them is that they have a very tight tolerance. The gap between the pad and the rotor is very small, and any misalignment of the brake caliper and or the rotor causes the pad to rub and make a noise. This has been one of our major issues with these brakes, and our mechanics spend a lot of time getting the brakes set up correctly. With a trike, the access to the front wheel is just the same as a two-wheel bike. The caliper and the rotor are on the outside, so it's easy to access. With the rear wheels of the trike, the brake caliper and the rotor are on the inside of the wheel, which makes it hard to access them and difficult to set up the brakes. For this reason, we have introduced quick release rear wheels, which happens to be a first for an Australian trike, Australian fat tyre trike. The wheel can easily be removed and the brake and rotor caliper stay on the axle. This gives great access to the brakes for setup, just the same as a two-wheel bike. Also, added bonus is if you as a customer have a flat tyre, you can take the wheel off and take it to your local bike shop rather than having to take the trike to the bike shop. Our mechanics are very happy with this feature as it makes brake setup a lot quicker and simpler. Gearing is another issue that we've always wanted to improve on our Trident. We now offer the Trident with Shimano Q's 9-speed gearing. Typically, trikes with fat tyres only have been able to use 7-speed gears and bottom of the range Shimano gearing. We wanted to provide an improved riding experience with the option to select different shifters and gear ratios. With more and more customers choosing torque-based trikes, the gearing is more important compared to when using PAS or cadence motors. The 9-speed gearing gives you lots of gears to choose from so that you can get a pedalling speed that feels good for you. And bike shops are very familiar with Shimano Q's, and the higher spec gearing provides more adjustment and they're easier for the mechanic to work on than the lower spec 7-speed gears. The Trident comes standard with rear basket and a liner with a zip lid, which is great for groceries as the liner prevents small items falling out. If you want something else, then we can fit the MIK or MIK adapter so that you can have any of the baskets that come with a MIK plate. This allows you to take the basket on and off quite easily with the key. If you want the trike shortened, then maybe you need to get it into the back of a car, or it's too wide to go across the car on the rack, then we can remove the basket and mounting plate and you can just use the accessory bar and hang a pannier off the seat. This gives you lots of different options to carry gear on the back of the Trident. So hopefully that gives you some idea of the design changes we've made on the Trident Gen 3 and the benefits that those changes mean to you as the customer. We're always looking for ways to improve the riding experience of our trikes and welcome feedback from our customers. If you want to have a test ride, then come in and see us at our shop in Gaythorne or contact one of our resellers in other areas. Thanks for watching.